You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. Device attributes are the defining properties that determine how a piece of hardware or software behaves in a networked environment. At a basic level, these attributes include the operating system it runs, the firmware it relies on, and the role it fulfills in the larger system. For instance, a router configured as a core network backbone device carries different responsibilities than a small office firewall appliance. These attributes directly influence how devices are managed, patched, and secured. Understanding them is essential for security practitioners, since weaknesses in any attribute, such as outdated firmware, can become the foothold for an attacker who exploits predictable gaps. Network appliances can be organized into several broad categories, each with its own security and operational purpose. Routers direct traffic between networks, ensuring data flows toward its proper destination. Switches operate primarily within networks, segmenting traffic and improving efficiency. Firewalls enforce security boundaries by filtering or blocking malicious or unauthorized traffic. Proxies act as intermediaries, hiding internal clients and caching content. Load balancers distribute incoming connections across multiple servers to optimize performance and resilience. Recognizing these classifications helps professionals identify not only the appliance's role, but also its unique set of risks, such as firewall rule misconfigurations or proxy abuse. Appliances can exist as hardware or virtualized instances, each presenting unique trade-offs. Hardware appliances, such as a dedicated firewall device, often provide consistent performance with built-in acceleration and hardened operating systems. Virtual appliances, by contrast, can be deployed flexibly on existing infrastructure, scaling with demand, but sometimes sharing resources with other virtual machines. Security professionals must weigh these differences carefully. For example, a virtual firewall may be easier to replicate for testing, while a hardware version may provide stronger tamper resistance. Choosing between them depends on organizational needs, cost, and performance expectations, making this an architectural decision with direct implications for resilience and security posture. Management interfaces form another critical aspect of device attributes because they provide the control panel through which administrators configure, monitor, and update appliances. These interfaces may be command line driven, web-based, or even available through dedicated out-of-band management networks. The very fact that they allow such powerful access makes them prime targets for attackers. Best practice involves isolating management traffic from production traffic, applying multi-factor authentication, and ensuring access is tightly restricted. If an adversary compromises a management interface, they effectively gain control over the appliance itself, which can be far more damaging than simply bypassing a firewall rule or accessing one unmonitored port. Firmware and operating system versions are central to device security because they determine which vulnerabilities may exist and which defenses are available. Firmware updates often contain fixes for critical flaws, yet many organizations delay or overlook them, leaving devices exposed. Similarly, outdated operating systems may lack modern cryptographic libraries or compatibility with centralized logging tools. A well-known example is routers left vulnerable to default firmware exploits, which have been widely abused in botnets. Maintaining awareness of device versioning and tying updates into the vulnerability management program ensures that devices do not become weak links in an otherwise well-protected environment. Performance attributes, such as throughput, concurrency, and session capacity, describe the limits of what an appliance can handle effectively. Throughput measures the volume of data the device can process per second, while concurrency defines the number of simultaneous connections it can manage. Session capacity reflects the ability to maintain long-lived or stateful sessions. If these limits are exceeded, performance degrades or connections may drop altogether. For example, a load balancer that can manage only 50,000 connections will struggle in a denial-of-service attack, generating hundreds of thousands of attempts. Understanding these thresholds allows network architects to design systems that perform reliably even under stress. High availability features in appliances allow systems to continue functioning even when a component fails. These may include clustering multiple devices together, synchronizing state information so that a backup device can seamlessly continue sessions, or configuring active/passive failover mechanisms. Without such features, an appliance failure could bring down entire segments of a network. For example, two clustered firewalls sharing state information can ensure that if one goes offline, active sessions continue uninterrupted. These designs may be more costly and complex, but they are crucial in environments where downtime equates to financial loss or significant operational disruption, such as healthcare or financial services networks. Configuration backups and versioning are lifelines for recovery when a device fails or is misconfigured. A firewall with hundreds of intricate rules represents a large investment of planning and effort. If that configuration were lost, rebuilding it from scratch could take days. Storing configuration backups and maintaining a version history ensures administrators can quickly restore functionality. This is not only about disaster recovery after hardware loss, but also about rollback capability after a flawed change. Treating configurations as critical assets with proper storage and access control transforms recovery from a painful exercise into a smooth, predictable process. Logging and telemetry are often overlooked but remain indispensable device attributes for modern security. Appliances generate logs that record their decisions and activities, such as dropped packets, authentication attempts, or anomalies in traffic patterns. This data can be exported to centralized monitoring systems like Security Information and Event Management (SIEM) platforms. Without logging, administrators fly blind, unable to reconstruct events after an incident. Properly configured logging provides visibility across the network, making it possible to detect misuses, misconfigurations, and malicious behavior before they escalate. Think of logs as a security camera inside your appliances, useless if disabled or ignored, but invaluable when maintained and reviewed. Administrative credentials and role separation determine who can do what on a device. Securing these credentials is non-negotiable. Shared accounts with weak passwords or lacking multi-factor authentication are serious risks, as they give attackers broad control if compromised. Role-based access control, which limits privileges to what is necessary, helps mitigate this. For example, a network engineer who only needs to review logs should not have the ability to change firewall rules. Proper separation ensures that mistakes and malicious actions alike have limited blast radius. A breach of an administrative credential without such protections can quickly escalate into a full compromise of the appliance. Lifecycle considerations also play a significant role in device attributes. Procurement decisions affect what appliances are introduced into the environment, while maintenance defines how they are kept current and resilient. Eventually, decommissioning must occur to prevent outdated devices from remaining connected and vulnerable. For example, older network appliances might no longer receive security patches, creating a permanent weak spot. Planning for lifecycle management ensures that devices do not silently age into obsolescence. From budgeting to replacement cycles, lifecycle thinking turns device management from a reactive exercise into a proactive strategy that enhances long-term security. Understanding device attributes holistically equips security professionals to select, deploy, and harden appliances in ways that align with organizational risk and operational requirements. Every detail, whether firmware version, performance limit, or role assignment, becomes part of the overall defensive strategy. By viewing appliances not as static boxes, but as evolving entities with characteristics that change over time, practitioners can anticipate problems and adjust proactively. This mindset bridges the gap between technical specifications and practical defense. Ultimately, recognizing and managing device attributes transforms appliances from potential vulnerabilities into reliable guardians of network security. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Appliance placement in a network is a critical architectural decision because it determines what traffic the device can see and how much latency it introduces. For example, a firewall positioned at the perimeter inspects inbound and outbound flows, but one deployed internally can segment sensitive departments like finance or HR. Similarly, placing a proxy close to users improves response times by caching requests, but placing it further downstream may increase control at the cost of efficiency. Placement decisions balance inspection depth against speed, ensuring security is enforced without degrading user experience. A poorly placed device can either become a bottleneck or, worse, fail to protect the intended assets. Hardware acceleration features are often built into network appliances to increase their efficiency. These include application-specific integrated circuits, ASICs, and network processing units, NPUs, which handle specialized tasks such as packet inspection or cryptographic operations. By offloading these functions from general-purpose processors, appliances achieve higher throughput and lower latency. For instance, a firewall with ASICs can inspect encrypted traffic at line speed, whereas one without might struggle and become overwhelmed. Security professionals must understand whether an appliance has these accelerators, as the difference can dictate whether it performs effectively under stress, especially in high-bandwidth environments such as data centers or enterprise cores. Licensing and feature management are operational attributes that often determine how an appliance is used day to day. Many vendors lock certain capabilities behind licenses, such as advanced intrusion prevention or high-availability clustering. Organizations that purchase only the base license may find themselves missing critical security functions they assumed were included. In practice, this means budgeting not only for the hardware or virtual appliance itself, but also for the recurring or tiered licenses that unlock needed capabilities. Properly managing licenses avoids the pitfall of deploying a device that appears capable but falls short at a crucial moment. This is as much a business concern as it is a technical one. Integration patterns describe how appliances connect to broader management platforms, orchestration systems, and application programming interfaces, APIs. Modern networks often involve many different appliances, and managing each one separately quickly becomes inefficient. Centralized management platforms allow administrators to push consistent policies across fleets of firewalls or load balancers. APIs enable automation, where scripts or orchestration tools can configure and monitor devices programmatically. For example, a cloud orchestration system might automatically update virtual appliances with new security rules as workloads shift. Integration reduces the risk of configuration drift, ensures faster response times, and allows security teams to operate at the scale modern environments demand. Firmware update processes require careful planning, since they directly affect appliance availability and stability. Unlike simple software updates on a workstation, updating the firmware of a router or firewall can temporarily disrupt traffic or even brick the device if done improperly. Safe rollout practices include staging updates in test environments, verifying vendor signatures, scheduling updates during maintenance windows, and maintaining backups for rollback. For example, an organization may stagger updates across a firewall cluster to maintain availability while applying fixes. Treating firmware updates as structured change management exercises reduces the likelihood of outages and ensures vulnerabilities are patched without introducing instability. Telemetry formats describe how appliances share data, and centralized collection ensures that information is actionable. Appliances can export logs and performance statistics in formats such as syslog, netflow, or Simple Network Management Protocol, SNMP. If each device sends data independently to different locations, analysis becomes fragmented. Centralizing telemetry in a security information and event management system provides cross-appliance visibility, enabling correlation between events. For instance, logs from a firewall blocking unusual connections can be correlated with a proxy log showing suspicious outbound requests, revealing a larger intrusion attempt. Without consistent formats and centralized storage, these connections would remain hidden, weakening detection capabilities. Failover and state synchronization are essential considerations for clustered appliances tasked with maintaining continuous service. Failover allows a backup device to assume the role of a failed primary, while state synchronization ensures active sessions persist seamlessly during the switchover. Without synchronization, users may experience dropped connections, forcing them to restart transactions or lose progress. For example, in online banking, a firewall cluster must transfer states smoothly to avoid interrupting customer sessions during a failover event. Implementing these features requires careful configuration and testing, but they provide the resilience that mission-critical environments demand, preventing single-device failures from escalating into full outages. Resource constraints, such as CPU, memory, and interface bandwidth, play a significant role in appliance performance. Even appliances with strong feature sets can fail under heavy loads if their capacity is exceeded. Monitoring utilization levels ensures administrators can take corrective action before performance-induced failures occur. For example, if a load balancer is consistently running at 90% CPU utilization, additional appliances may need to be deployed. Ignoring these constraints risks bottlenecks, degraded user experiences, and even downtime during peak usage or attacks. Capacity monitoring transforms potential weaknesses into predictable scaling challenges, allowing security teams to address them proactively rather than reactively. Hardening network appliances means reducing their attack surface by disabling unnecessary services, restricting management access, and securing communication protocols. Best practices include limiting management to specific access control lists, ACLs, turning off unused interfaces, and avoiding insecure protocols like SNMPv, one in favor of secure alternatives. For example, leaving an SSH service open to the Internet drastically increases the risk of brute force attacks. By contrast, restricting SSH to a dedicated management network minimizes exposure. Hardening ensures appliances fulfill their intended role without providing attackers with unmonitored avenues of access, aligning device behavior tightly with security expectations. Vendor support and end-of-life (EOL) considerations are also part of device risk assessment. Vendors typically provide patches, updates, and technical support only for products within their supported lifecycle. Once a device reaches EOL, it may continue functioning but will no longer receive security updates, making it a liability. For instance, organizations that keep outdated routers in service often discover they are the first systems compromised during scanning campaigns. Planning for replacements before EOL ensures that appliances remain secure and supported. Factoring in vendor reputation and responsiveness further refines procurement decisions, ensuring that long-term reliability is baked into device selection. Physical placement and environmental requirements are practical but important aspects of appliance deployment. Appliances must be installed in secure racks with reliable power sources and sufficient cooling to prevent overheating. Inadequate planning can lead to degraded performance, frequent shutdowns, or even hardware damage. For example, placing a firewall in a branch office closet without climate control can shorten its lifespan and increase downtime. Similarly, appliances that lack redundant power supplies are more vulnerable to local outages. Addressing environmental factors ensures that security devices operate reliably, protecting not only against cyber threats but also against physical risks in their operating environment. Selecting and operating appliances with attribute-aligned policies and monitoring ties the entire concept together. Each attribute performance, licensing, lifecycle, or hardening plays into an organization's risk management strategy. By aligning appliance features with business requirements and continuously monitoring them, administrators ensure devices serve as reliable enforcers of policy rather than sources of vulnerability. For example, choosing a firewall with clustering capabilities and aligning it with strict update procedures and centralized logging creates a robust security layer. Treating appliance management as a continuous cycle of alignment, verification, and adjustment helps organizations maintain resilience in the face of evolving threats and operational demands. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.